All these stories are scary, but which one is the scariest? Let's find out. Story 1. Closing shift horror. It was almost midnight at Starbucks. I was the only one left, cleaning up, waiting to lock the doors. Suddenly, a black SUV pulled up to the drive-thru. The windows were pitch dark, the engine purred, but no one spoke. When I greeted them, the speaker crackled. A low, distorted voice whispered, "One tall caramel bloodbath." I froze. At first, I thought it was a prank, but then silence. Just heavy breathing. Minutes passed, but the SUV never moved. No order, no goodbye. Just sitting there. After half an hour, I decided to step outside. As I approached the car, I noticed the windows, not just dark, but smeared with strange handprints from the inside. Small hands, dragging downward. My stomach turned cold. Then, with a loud thud, the SUV's trunk opened. What I saw inside, I'll never forget. A woman, bound, terrified, her eyes begging me for help. Before I could react, the driver's door creaked open. A tall figure stepped out, wearing something unnatural over his face. A mask that looked too real, too raw, stitched as if it didn't belong to him. He stared at me and growled, "Where's my order?" My body went numb. He lunged toward me. The next few minutes were a blur of screams, struggle, and pure terror until the police finally arrived. They dragged him away as he laughed and shouted nonsense. Later, detectives told me he had been on the run. That caramel bloodbath was a phrase only his wife used to say during Halloween. The joke he wanted her to hear one last time. I quit Starbucks after that. I don't work nights anymore, and whenever I see a black SUV, my chest still tightens. Story to the cake pop man. I was 13 when my mom finally let me order at Starbucks alone. The store was busy, but in the corner, near the trash cans, sat a man in a giant pink cake pop costume. At first I thought it was some marketing stunt, but the costume looked old, cracked, dirty, with sprinkles stitched on like hair, and no one else seemed to notice him. I ordered my drink and sat down. That's when I realized he was waving at me, slowly, beckoning me closer. Then, without warning, he stood up. The costume squeaked as he walked. No footsteps, just squeaks. He crouched beside my table and whispered, "I've got a secret menu. Want to try the real flavor?" I shook my head. He smiled, eyes unnaturally yellow, and pulled out a wax-wrapped cake pop. "This one's special. For good boys only." I grabbed my drink and ran out. At home, I left that special cake pop in the yard. A stray cat licked at it, and then I saw something underneath the candy coating. Something that was not candy. Something that should never be inside food. I screamed and ran inside. My mom called the cops, but later we found out security footage. No man in a cake pop costume never appeared. Only me, sitting alone, ordering, waiting, running, like I saw a ghost. Days later, 2 kids went missing from a nearby town. They only cloué, a cake pop stick, left on the windowsill, with something tangled in the candy coating. Since that day, I've never eaten a cake pop again. But sometimes, walking past Starbucks, I still glance inside, just to make sure he isn't there, sitting in the corner. Story 3. The Copycat Killer. Every day, during my lunch break, I visited the same. My order was always ready. A cold vanilla drink and a wrap. One day, as I picked it up, the man behind me said, "I'll have what she's having." He was tall, unshaven, wearing a crumpled pink hoodie. His smile never touched his eyes. As I walked past, he leaned closer and whispered, "You smell like fear and cinnamon." I ignored him and rushed to my car, but when I turned the corner, he was already there, bags in his hands, head tilted like a curious animal. "Don't be scared," he grinned. "You have such lovely skin." My body froze. I wanted to scream, but nothing came out. He stepped closer. Then a car horn blared in the distance. I snapped out, sprinted into my car, and locked the doors. He crouched at my window. "I'm not here to hurt you. I brought you a gift." He placed something on my windshield. I don't know what it was, just that it wasn't meant for me to see. My heart nearly stopped. The police later told me I was lucky, that he was caught days later, driving across state lines. They called him the Copycat Killer. He would order what his victims ordered, then follow them. On the news, they showed his face. Same hoodie, same meaningless smile, and in his car, my exact drink with my name printed on it. That day, I realized I wasn't spared by accident. He wanted me to remember him, to keep smelling fear and cinnamon forever. Now it's your turn. Which story was the most terrifying?